Making pizza is a labor-intensive process. So how do these guys pump out an estimated 2 million frozen pizzas every day? Here at the Schwann's factory in Florence, Kentucky, they use over 3,000 machines to help satisfy the world's unending appetite for pizza. And it all starts with the crust. Schwann's Freschetta brand pizzas rely on a delicate balance of ingredients to achieve the desired crust texture. First, workers pour the dry ingredients, flour, salt, and a mix of top-secret flavorings into these hoppers. Then, vacuum tubes suck the powdery mixture into the next room. Here, pipes feed in precise amounts of liquid yeast and water. As twin mixing paddles stir the ingredients together, the water molecules bond with a protein in the flour called gluten. This chemical reaction gives the dough a strong but stretchy consistency. It takes less than 10 minutes to combine the ingredients. And then the mixer deposits the massive dough ball onto a slow-moving conveyor belt, where it creeps along for 15 minutes. As it inches along, the yeast begins feeding on the sugars in the dough, causing it to rise. And rise it does. By the time it reaches the next machine, the dough ball increases about 20% in size. After it's risen, the giant blob of dough spills into the next machine, aptly named the chunker. Here, two massive blades chomp out chunks of dough called logs that drop onto another conveyor system. Now the dough must be flattened to the thickness of a pizza crust. But these 5-foot logs require something a little more heavy-duty than a person with a rolling pin. Enter the 3-roll sheeter. As the dough enters the sheeter, it receives a sprinkling of breadcrumbs and flour to keep it from sticking to the conveyor. Then it's ready to roll. It heads through a series of 3 mechanical rollers, each one flattening it further. Why 3? It's the same reason a pizza maker tosses the dough over and over again to get the pie to the right size. The mixture of flour and water gives the pizza crust its texture, making the dough elastic yet resistant to changing shape. It takes 3 rollers to sufficiently thin out the dough. Then, in a step that really differentiates these pizzas from the hand-toss variety, the dough moves through a machine that's basically an industrial cookie cutter. This die cutter uses a rotating cylinder with raised metal squares to punch pizza-shaped holes in the ribbon of dough passing underneath. The cutout crusts continue along the conveyor, while the excess dough rolls away on a different set of belts that take it back to the mixer to recycle it into the next batch. Now it's time to turn up the heat to about 700 degrees Fahrenheit. The crusts zoom in and out of this super hot oven in less than a minute. And that's all it takes to make them, well, crusty. It might seem strange that they cook the crust before the sauce and cheese go on, but flash cooking the crust now actually shortens the final preparation time in your home oven. As soon as the crusts pop out of the oven, they move into this spiral freezer. There, they twist up a conveyor, while blasts of cold air chill them out. It's important to freeze these crusts immediately after baking to lock in the bread's freshness. And now this crust is ready to turn into a pizza. First up, the sauce station. Schwan's homemade sauce funnels from this giant vat into a pizza-sized sprayer that uses air pressure to squirt dots of sauce onto each pie as it passes underneath. This factory keeps a lot of tomato farmers in business. They run through nearly 35 tons of tomato sauce every day. Next up, the cheese. Workers load 30-pound blocks of mozzarella into a huge shredder, sort of an industrial version of a kitchen grater. A conveyor transports the grated cheese out of the machine and into a giant hopper. And then a rake forces a waterfall of cheese to fall onto the pies as they pass underneath. At Schwan's, they don't take their cheese lightly. It actually takes 32,000 cows to produce enough milk to supply the factory with cheese for one day. Now we officially have pizzas. But these pizzas are meant to satisfy the 36% of Americans who prefer a slice with pepperoni. First, a worker places 3-foot pepperoni sticks into a cluster box, basically a box with a slot for each pepperoni. The vertical slots of the box are exactly situated to arrange the meat in an even pattern across the pie. As the cluster box slides over a rotating 20-inch blade, pepperoni slices drop onto the pizzas beneath. To speed up the process, 2 cluster boxes work in tandem. While one slices, the other shoots back to its original position. Finally, the pizzas get a healthy layer of chopped vegetables, an extra dash of grated cheese, and they're on to a special infrared oven that applies just enough heat to melt the cheese without fully cooking the pizza. Cooking them for less than 5 seconds at 500 degrees Fahrenheit bonds the shredded cheese together, holding all the toppings in place so they don't fall off during the next step, the spiral freezer. This is where the pie is turned from pizzas into frozen pizzas. They wind up and around this negative 35-degree Fahrenheit freezer on thousands of feet of conveyor belt. After just over a half an hour, they come out frozen solid and ready for the packaging line. First, our finished pizzas pass through a shrink wrap applicator. Then they travel through these tunnels, which heat seal the shrink wrap in place. Meanwhile, an automatic cartoner releases pre-assembled boxes onto a conveyor, where a mechanical arm pushes each pie into a box. On average, an American eats 46 slices of pizza each year. That means Americans alone consume nearly 2 billion pizza pies a year. So the 2 million or so frozen pizzas this factory ships out every day are not just a little slice of the pie.